All right. Hey, everyone. We're talking again with Carol Cowan from carolcowan.ca. And today we're talking about a relaxation technique that I'm sure most of you are aware of called meditation. But we're going to talk about something new this time in regards to that. So welcome, Carol, and thank you for joining us today again.
Well, thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure to do these chats with you and share our passion and knowledge for health and wellness and relaxation and meditation.
Awesome. So in case people haven't seen your other video yet, can you just give us a quick review of what your business is about and what services you offer?
Well, primarily I do EFT, or emotional freedom technique, which we talked about in our last video, which is an acupressure tapping technique that you can use to rewire your associative response emotionally to a thought or past, present, or future. And in addition to doing EFT, or emotional freedom technique, I've also been teaching yoga and hosting retreats for, I guess, over a decade now. And meditation is, of course, my other passion. So, there's lots of things. I'm always experimenting. In the last 12 years or so, I've always been open to different techniques, whether it's meditation or energy work or Reiki healing, in combination with what I do as a social worker. When I see clients privately for sessions, I like blending the work that I do as a social worker with some of the Eastern traditions, whether it's yoga or meditation or energy healing, like EFT.
Okay. Can you give us an overview, like an idea, if people want to know what is meditation and what are the general benefits of meditation?
That's an excellent question, because I think a lot of people who are new to meditation are intimidated by it and not sure where to start. And one definition of meditation is actually just to become familiar with. So if we define it as such, what we're examining is becoming familiar with the self, or becoming familiar with your thoughts, becoming familiar with your own mind and your own habits, and then making conscious choices, if you can, to change that. So the practice of meditation, there's many benefits, whether you're looking at the physical health benefits or the mental and emotional benefits. And a lot of people typically start meditating because their mind is busy and I can't relax. So of course, one of the major benefits, which I'm sure you've experienced too, is emotional well-being and a state of calm. It's great to manage anxiety. But on the flip side, it can also help with the immune system, with your blood pressure, with cardiovascular health, because we know, of course, the mind and body are not separate. So it works in an interconnected way, which is beautiful.
Okay. And I've done meditation before, but I remember when I first started, I was caught up with, oh my gosh, stop thinking about stuff. Clear your mind. Don't think of anything. All these things are popping in. And, I think a lot of people think that meditation, they're supposed to be in a moment of tranquility and not think about anything. And
right? Just like Zen state.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an internal process, right? And for a lot of people, it's frustrating initially, so they give up. Or, it depends on whether or not you've got a teacher guiding you. And I also think it's about finding the right style for you, because there's many different types of meditation. So if you can find the right type for you, that's a good fit. I think you're more inclined to, I know you're probably more inclined to continue with the practice if you enjoy it or you get the benefit out of it. So if it improves sleep for you, if it helps your anxiety, if you find it's easier for you to concentrate, it's easier for you to emotionally regulate yourself when you become dysregulated, you're going to repeat the process because you're getting a benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not working, you're not going to repeat the process. So that being said, if I get to know my client or my group that I'm working with, I might suggest different meditations for different people.
Okay, and so what are some different types of meditation and which do you recommend?
There's everything from guided meditations, which are great for people that are new. So you might just be listening to somebody's voice guide you into visualization or imagery of some sort. But that could also mean that you're consciously moving energy in the body with that intention and attention to that. So like a chakra meditation. My personal practice is a bit more of a Kundalini meditation, which I've been doing for years as well. Vipassana meditation is a bit more of an intense practice if you start at the like a Vipassana retreat center, but a wonderful practice that you can also incorporate once you leave. And that's also the process of being mindful of the breath initially, and then transitioning that mindfulness into being aware of sensations in the body and choosing consciously, moment to moment, your response to that instead of reacting to that, so that you can take that into your life, which is an ever-unfolding practice. You're never really done. The other meditations that I find are great for people that have a difficult time with meditation are binaural beats. So binaural beats are two different sounds that you would hear, which help to relax the brain in an effortless way. And I'll go into a bit more detail about that, but I've done holosync and I've done hemisync, and it's a wonderful way to, I won't say effortlessly, but it's an easier way for some people to practice meditation. In addition to that, I mean, I highly recommend Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations. I've been doing those for over a couple of years now, and I've experienced wonderful benefits in doing that. But my favorite most recently, because I go through phases, I guess, you know, I'm always experimenting. My favorite most recently is one called Synctuition, which is very new, and the developers are just on the edge of launching it. And I was lucky enough to come across it, and I feel blessed because it's not just a regular binaural beats meditation that you can find on YouTube or whatever. It's a 360, it's a 3D sounds, three-dimensional sounds that you're listening to that guide the brain into a gamma brainwave state, and it's out of this world. I mean, I've done like 12 years of meditation, and I listened to it for the first 5 minutes, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, after like, you know, I listened to the first 5 minutes, and I was so impressed that when I was done the 25-minute meditation, I emailed the guy. I was like, you got to tell me, I've never heard anything like this. This is out of this world. And so I've since then spoke with the developers in Estonia via Skype, and I've had a great experience with them. And I'm absolutely amazed and impressed by what they created, because they worked for 2 years just to find somebody who would even be able to create 3D sounds in binaural beats. He was told it wasn't possible for 2 years, and he was so determined to do it that he found someone to do it. And I don't know, I just get excited about stuff like this.
Well, I was fortunate enough, you sent me a sample, and I've listened to a couple of them, and I really enjoyed it as well. The first one, I couldn't find my headphones, so I just listened to it. And but the second one I listened to, I put my headphones on, and it totally was a different experience listening to it that way. So what do you think people can expect going through this type of meditation?
Like you said, it makes a big difference if you use it with earphones. It actually only works when you use it with earphones because of how binaural beats work in general. So what happens is that with binaural beats, it's almost like an auditory illusion for the brain. So the sound in your right ear might be at 500 hertz, which is a frequency. And the sound in your left ear might be 540 hertz. Now the difference between that is 40 hertz, right? We can all do that simple math. So the brain actually can't perceive the two different sounds. So what it does is it perceives the auditory illusion of 40 hertz. Well, why is that important? What happens when you're listening to something like that with earphones on is there's entrainment that happens. The brain gets entrained to electrical activity at the same level of hertz, which would be 40 hertz, which is a gamma brainwave. Well, why would I want my brain to be in a gamma brainwave state? Like, why is that important? That's a great question. What happens in a gamma brainwave state, most of us could relate to that by a feeling, it's usually associated with feelings of being blessed, being connected with the divine, or being in a state of flow. So if anybody is an athlete and has had a Zen state or a state of flow, or they're an artist in a state of flow and creativity, if I had an EEG on your head at that time, so electrodes on your head that was measuring the electrical activity in your brain, chances are pretty good you would either be in theta or you would be in gamma during that Zen flow state. Well, why would you want to be in that state? Because it's a blissful, beautiful state. Why wouldn't you want to be? And that you could achieve that simply by putting in earphones and listening intently. And that's all you have to do is, like I tell people, to listen as though you're eavesdropping. Not that you would be somebody who would do that, but listen as though you're eavesdropping. So listening as though you're trying to get all the subtle sounds. So my experience personally, when I first tried binaural beats, is sometimes the first few minutes is a bit challenging because your mind will waver between, oh, did I take the garbage out? Oh yeah, I'm listening to this meditation. Oh, what do I gotta, do this tomorrow. Oh, back to my meditation. But after about at 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it is for you, you'll feel your brain literally slip from that beta brainwave, which is the thinking, analysis, mind racing, into alpha. And it'll eventually, what happens is it entrains to the gamma brainwave that's in synctuition, is just underneath all the sounds that you're hearing. So there's sounds of nature. I mean, I think they've done over 13,000 different sounds in 60 different. They've had 1,500 people work on this, 103 musicians to create this. So there's musical sounds, but underneath that is a gamma wave. And that 40 hertz will entrain your brain into a gamma brainwave state. So by the end of the 25 minutes, you're blessed. Like, I listen to it at the end of the day, and it does not matter what kind of day that I've had. I listen to it sitting up so that I don't fall asleep. But when I'm done, I shut up my light, and I have had the best sleep I've ever had in decades, literally decades. Like, I've had dreams that were amazing. I'm not sure if you've listened. I don't know if it's in the third track. I mean, there's 3 tracks that are for free. You can try 3 for free. And I think, have you heard the keys yet?
No.
Oh, maybe that's the third one. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes people can expect is that there's some sounds that are a little surprising. They might come out of nowhere and they're a bit surprising, or they might bring up stuff for you. They might bring up a reaction for you. So initially, I actually didn't like the sound of the keys. I was like, oh, that's kind of like, they're over here. It sounds like a door opening.
Yeah.
And it actually sounds like they're old skeleton keys. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I found myself, I just sit with it because practicing adhitana or strong determination, I notice the reaction. It's there. It's part of me. And I know that this too shall pass, and nothing is anicca, nothing is permanent. So I observe my reaction to it. And so I contact the developer the next day that I've been in touch with and say, I don't like the keys. Like, you got to take the keys out. I'm just giving you feedback. I've done a lot of meditation. I don't like the keys. And he laughs at me. I was like, what's the deal? He's like, a lot of people don't like the keys. But, and I know this, the reason that it's there is that because it's designed to bring up your reaction. Well, why would you want to do that? Because the practice of meditation for some of us is to process what's still lying in the subconscious, to process what's still there, so that we can choose to be at peace. Because if I don't process that, my subconscious will find it somewhere in my external environment and continue to react that way. And I said, yes, I know why. I need to, if I practice my reaction and I have the ability to regulate myself internally, I won't be triggered by my external environment. So that night I have a dream. And in my dream, I'm lost. I'm walking down a street, and I go up a sidewalk, and I try to go up some stairs, and I try to get into this house, but I can't get into the house. So I walk back down the stairs, and I find somebody on the street, and he's got the keys. He's got the skeleton keys. And he gives me the keys, and I absolutely burst into tears of gratitude in my dream. I'm thankful, and I'm crying, and it's amazing. And, of course, the keys fit in the door. Yeah. And I open the door, and I proceed to go downstairs, which in a dream dictionary would tell you moving into subconscious realms. And so it was a beautiful, wonderful dream. And now when I hear the sound of the door and the sound of the keys, I have zero reaction whatsoever. I'm totally at peace with it. But because I've processed that, right? But that doesn't mean that when you listen to the keys, if you listen tonight, that doesn't mean you'll have the same reaction.
Right.
It just means that you might listen to the water one and have a reaction. So it's there to challenge you. I mean, I would say 80 to 90% of the tracks are blissful, wonderful, beautiful, magical, amazing. And 10% might have sounds that bring up your stuff. But I didn't get to this point in my life or my career without working on myself, right? And I have to do my own work if I'm going to help others. So, I mean, that's I guess a belief that I operate from. But
so with this Synctuition, what's the connection between intuition and meditation?
That's an interesting question. There's a multitude of factors in my understanding that are connected to intuition. One, of course, most people who have studied yoga would say it's third eye, and it's pineal gland, activating pineal gland, and decreasing fluoride. And in addition to activating pineal gland, third eye, other research also indicates that if you can create synchronization between the right and left hemispheres of the brain and strengthen a part of the brain called the corpus callosum, which basically connects right and left hemispheres, that you can also increase intuition. So because they've actually studied after, it's 8 hours or something after Albert Einstein died, they wanted to know why was he able to intuitively solve problems in ways that other people couldn't. It's because he actually used both sides of his brain equally, because he had a significant increase in the neurosynaptic connections, the corpus callosum, between the right and left hemispheres. So how do I strengthen that if I want that connection? So I explain it to people by using the analogy of an orchestra. So there's different parts and different components to the brain, and if that was an orchestra, you would want all those pieces of the orchestra to be playing the exact same song at the exact same time. That has the conductor facilitating that. But what happens for most people, if you don't have right and left hemispheres of the brain working well together, is there's anxiety, there's stress experience, there's difficulty in problem solving, there's not feeling a connection to the divine. So the practice is, well, how do I get right and left hemispheres working together? And if you could do that, it's akin to the orchestra working together. Because if the orchestra isn't working together, you're going to hear that. It's going to sound like the orchestra's not playing well together. So the practice of getting right and left hemispheres to operate well would be akin to the orchestra playing beautifully. And so if I can create bilateral stimulation, whether that's through EMDR, eye movement desensitization, reprocessing, they're tapping bilateral. A lot of people will do tapping on the right side and tapping on the left side. A lot of yoga postures are actually incorporate both right and left sides, because that allows for a strengthening of connection between the left brain, the analytical mind, and that right brain that's more creative. So imagine if you can get those two sides to work together. The other thing that you'd want to do is tones in the right ear and the left ear, which Synctuition and binaural beats so conveniently do for you because they just happen to have different sounds or different levels of hertz on both sides.
Yeah.
So in my experience, since I've been doing it, is other states of flow. I'm at work and I feel this nudge to go left when I really need to go right to my office, but I go left because I feel this nudge or this connection, and I run into that person that I've been looking for like the last 3 days. I'm like, I've been looking for you. And I mean, I have so many experiences that are hard to say, but there's also another level of intuitiveness about decision making. We've all had that experience of decision making, like you just know that that's what you want, that's what you need when you're shopping or when you're presented with a decision. And the rational mind is like, oh, but that doesn't make sense, or but that's not right. And you can't override that gut feeling. So it would strengthen that gut feeling. When you can have both hemispheres working together, you can strengthen that gut feeling.
In a good way.
In a good way. Absolutely.
So with this, is there any negative side effects from doing this type of meditation?
That would be up to the perceiver. If you find, I had some odd dreams, like after I had the dream about the keys, maybe a week later I was doing it every day, 25 minutes a day. I had a dream about, old emotions that had come up that were, a pattern for me. But I guess if processing old emotions or old memories coming up on a rare occasion is a negative side effect, then yes. sometimes that process of going through it might be negative, but on the flip side, I also see it as a positive thing because you're no longer operating from that place, right? If you can allow the brain and the body to heal that, to process that emotion that often resides, especially if it's related to trauma or something and it's stuck. If you can give the brain the opportunity to process that, then you no longer operate from that place, which for me is priceless. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, sleeping better and, you know, not clenching my jaw and all these things. I can't put a price tag on that.
Mm-hmm. So with this new experience, this new method that you found, what is your favorite thing about it?
What is it? What is my favorite thing about it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love the idea primarily about increasing my intuition because I love operating from that place and feeling guided by my understanding of the divine every day, and listening to those nudges that I get. Or sometimes I struggle with making decisions, so it's really amazing to be able to just make decisions in an effortless way because I feel guided or intuitive about that.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. The other thing I really like is that it's 25 minutes a day. When I listen to it, I always have access to it. And then they send me the next one. It's not until I complete that one, because it's progressive. There's level 1, level 2, level 3. And once you complete a track, then they email you the next one. You complete that track. You can do it every day, or you can do it once a week. So for me, you know, I'm busy. I'm working. I've got a toddler. I used to have an hour and a half a day to meditate. It was great, you know, my physical practice, and that's not happening. So I like that it's 25 minutes because that's doable and attainable for me in my lifestyle currently. And people are busy. There's an old saying that if you can't find 20 minutes a day to meditate, then you should probably meditate an hour.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Because when we're busy. And so it's realistic, I think, for people who have a busy schedule. It's a wonderful way to end my day. And sleep is priceless for anybody out there who's a parent who needs to sleep better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I listen to them before bed because that's what they recommend. And I found that most women especially have busy minds, like 5 million things are going on. And I found with all the different sounds that were going on, it kept a lot of my mind occupied. So I wasn't, thinking of 500 things. Maybe I'm just thinking of a few things, but it was going with the flow of the rhythm of the music. So a thought would come in and it would then flow away. And then another thought would come in and flow away. And so it wasn't like overwhelming with a million thoughts. And I think that's what I really liked about it, that it felt good to listen to it.
Sure, because if you struggle with meditation or just sitting there quietly, then your mind's just racing, and it's like some intuition just kind of picks you up and takes you away. And
on a vacation almost.
So it's a short but lovely vacation every day that you can take.
Is there anything else you want to add about it?
If anybody is interested in trying it, I can offer. I can also offer a $50 gift card for anybody who does want to purchase it. But I always encourage people to try it for a couple of days. You can have 3 free samples, see if you like it. And if you're interested, I'll also offer a $50 gift card tonight. And or you can always email me or contact me or find me on my website, carolcowan.ca. And if you have any questions, if anything comes up for you, I'm more than open to helping people work through that and answer those questions and process that with people.
Awesome. Well, I will put the links up attached to this video. And thank you very much for sharing with us today.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.